Our next guest is possibly the only person in the UK who, after a hard day's work, looks forward to putting her shoes on rather than taking them off.
Does she? A marathon runner, Anna McNuff, is back from running the length of Britain completely, all of it, with bare feet. Ouch! Let's have a look at her journey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! There we go! Trying to get a grip on this trail is just tough. A little bridge out of Beadnell. Let's cheer me up a little bit. First smile of the day. Look at all these people! Jesus Christ! Look at all these people! Oh, yeah! Woo! Oh, thank you, my little runners! Amazing, thank you.
Wow. I mean, wow. Anna's here with us now. First of all, wow. Ow. And
Wow.
why?
Well, to put it in context, I know it sounds really extreme and I understand that, but I have done a 2,000-mile run in trainers before. So I just thought, I was talking to the young women of Britain all the way along about challenges and adventure. So I thought, how can I make a long run harder? Crazy thought entered my head. Why don't you do it in bare feet? And I thought, that is ridiculous. But then I thought, well, is it ... And that's how I ended up here.
So you finished a week ago.
I finished a week ago, yes. They've had some recovery.
We don't normally say put your feet on the
Yeah.
table. Can you shove them up there?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're not too bad. So you said earlier you expect them to be hobbit feet, and I expected them to be like that hairy.
Do you mind if can I cop a
Do you
feel?
want to? I know you want to touch them.
I mean, they are. It's so hard, isn't it? Is that
It
calluses and?
Yeah, but it's like a panther paw. It's kind of supple.
Oh, for chiropody service.
What is it?
It's like a panther paw. You know, it's
Right,
kind of like
okay.
if you look at a cat's paw, it's soft, but it's thick, and
Yes.
and that's what they've done over time. They've adapted. Human body is just amazing.
Because it feels like probably, and if I was to feel my own foot or another foot, it feels the skin on the ball of your foot there is like feels 4 or 5 times thicker than normal skin.
It is. And I learned a cool fact that actually the skin on the bottom of your feet regenerates 10 times faster than anywhere else in your body. So it's made to do that. So it's been fascinating.
There must have been a bit of adaptation. So how was, you know, the first day compared to the last day?
Oh my gosh, the first day, I mean, you can see from that video, I was so excited and I look back and think, you were so naive, honestly. But the first month was really tough because I think it hit me like a freight train. I thought, what have I got myself into? And it took about 6 weeks for my body to get used to it and my skin to get used to it as well.
And you did get, you got quite a nasty injury, didn't you? And you had to stop for a bit because you just couldn't run at all.
Yeah, I did. About 1,000 miles through, I got a cut from a piece of glass, which was going to happen at some point, but it got infected, and so I had 2 weeks off my feet, and that was the toughest bit of the journey especially because I was giving girl guiding talks all the way along, but I kept doing the talks even when I had the infection because I thought I want these girls to see that this is part of it. You know, this is my worst fear about the journey. Everyone's watching, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry on, and it's happened.
Was it only once that you trod on glass?
Just once, which
Wow.
I think is amazing.
Which is sort of amazing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so. So it was just that 2 weeks, and then I had a bout of tonsillitis at some point. But other than that, that was the only hold-up
You
from
must
the whole
have
journey.
stood on some other nasty things.
I did. I've stood on everything you can imagine that comes out of an animal. I've stood on it.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, some extra things to boot as well. Definitely, yeah, a lot of different stuff.
And was it less? This is going to sound stupid now. Was it less painful than you thought it would be? Because obviously, do you know what I mean? In terms of, you know, stubbing your toe and treading on things that are uncomfortable, and how fast you're able to run while you're trying to make sure your feet are going in the right place as well.
Yeah, it all depended on surface. I was amazed when I was on grass or baby smooth tarmac. I'm a complete tarmac connoisseur now. I've got all this useless information in my head about tarmac. That was much easier than I thought, but there was a lot more variation in surfaces. So I think that was the hardest thing to get used to, was to wake up every day and think, I have no idea how today is going to go. I could get grit, I could get gravel, I could get grass. I just had to be ready for anything, and that took a bit of getting used to.
So you've done it, to encourage other people to go and do things?
Well, it's all about girl guiding. So I'm the UK ambassador for girl guiding. So it was about going into those girl guiding units. So I spoke to nearly 2,000 girls as I went down the country, and I was just going in there and saying to them, girls, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever challenge you think you're going to take on, go for it. Don't worry what anyone else thinks, and just decide whatever's right for you and go for it.
On the hard days, on the hard moments.
Yeah.
How do you get through them?
It really was the girls that got me through, and that sounds bizarre, but I thought, how can I stand in front of these girls? And they've said that they want to be more adventurous, they want to get out there. We know that from a survey that was happened earlier in the year, and I thought, I need to stand in front of them and I need to show them that adventure is for girls as well. We get messy, we get muddy, but we just find a way to keep going.
So what's it like now putting? I know you've gone shoeless for us today, but are you back in shoes?
I am. I'm back in minimalist shoes. Yeah, I know, and it felt so lovely just to slip that pair of socks back on. It's like, I'm floating on clouds at the moment. Honestly, it's lovely. But they feel really heavy, and I went for my first run the other day with just very light minimalist shoes on, and I was almost struggling to pick my feet up as I ran because that extra weight just felt so heavy. So it is weird, but quite a relief.
Do you know what? You're so right about the socks as well, because if you forget, if you're not wearing shoes, you don't have socks, which are a lovely thing in life.
They are.
What now?
What now? I think it's going to be a lot of just laying down, watching some Disney movies, you know, eating mince pies and trying to break the world record for watching movies back to back into Christmas and relaxing a bit.
Are you going to set yourself another physical challenge, do you think, or do you need a break?
I definitely will. It's an ongoing journey. I'm going to be doing adventures till I'm 90, till I'm 100, but for now I think it's about just relaxing and letting my body get back to normal and seeing what happens in the new year.
And for people who feel afraid of adventure, of going out there and challenging themselves, what do you say?
Oh, I just say to them, it's always going to be messy and uncomfortable at points, but it is so much fun. And that's what I want to share. The whole way through the journey was the highs and the lows with all of the girls of Girl Guiding, and just let them know that is part and parcel of it. It's an adventure, it's life. That's what it's supposed to be like.
What's you always say the next tree, don't you?
I always, my goals are very small goals when I'm doing something, not obviously as challenging
it's relative
as that.
to you, though.
Yeah, it is. It's not about running a marathon, it's can I get to that next tree and then I'll decide about the one after, or the lamppost, or whatever it is.
That's what I say.
Small decisions.
You only ever need to be able to run 1 more mile or 100 more metres, and then eventually the finish line will come.
I love the way you casually said a few moments ago, after the first 1,000 miles, man alive.
Are you not up for a 1,000-mile run then, Dan? No? Not this year.
I'm more of a 10K.
Got you. Yeah. You know your strengths. That's why you stick to it.
Some of us are gifted in the sprinting area.
You've got fast twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously got fast. I haven't got any of them.
There's nothing wrong with being slow as long as you get there in the end.
Exactly.
And you're brilliant. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Anna. Really nice to talk to you as well.
You.
Yeah.
I think you're the first guest I've ever felt the feet of as well. Which is a special moment for us both.
What a treat.
Oh, it's so good to meet you. Thank you very much. You are watching Breakfast. It's just coming up.